Hello everyone, and welcome back to another video. In this video, I'll be going over everything you need to know about the new Spring 2022 event. For starters, this event is actually very similar to the last year's event, the Spring 2020 event. I guess it's not even last year's, it's just the last spring event. And this is because, well, the boss is literally Ducky Doom's son, and some of the skins from this event actually seem very similar to the last spring event skins. Now, what makes this event super unique is its game mode, the Defend the Center game mode, which is limited time, by the way, in which you have to defend the center from enemies. Now, what makes this super unique is that more and more enemies are going to be coming at you rather than just 10 or 20. Now more like 100 enemies are going to be coming at you from every direction, not just from one path, but literally everywhere. And this game mode actually really utilizes placement, because if you don't have a good placement, you're not going to be able to defend every single enemy. And what makes this game mode really cool is that there's more interactions in the event itself, such as plot buying and passive income. Now, let's go into more of the event itself. Plots are little pieces of land that you can buy for a certain amount of money, and when you do buy these plots, not only do you free up space to place down towers, but you also get more money, and this money goes into your kind of like a bank. Every so often, you'll get a certain amount of money, and this is pretty much just from your passive income in the event. And the more plots you buy, the more money you get from the passive income. And this makes plots really hard to keep track of, because you never know when you have too little money or too much money coming from your passive income in the event. Now let's go over the new tower in this update. The Engineer Tower, which is not the event tower. There is no event tower for this event, sadly. But the Engineer Tower is a hardcore tower, and it's level 60 exclusive. And this tower costs 4,500 gems, which, I mean, that's way too much. But we'll see what happens to it later on. Now, from what I've heard, this Engineer Tower is pretty mediocre, but it might get buffed later, and I don't have this tower yet, but I will showcase it in a later video. Now let's get into more of the event enemies. You have Ducky Doom 2.0, I guess, which has 250,000 health, spawns on wave 21, I guess, wave Duck, wave X, any way you call it, but it doesn't spawn on wave 20. And Ducky Doom 2.0 can, well, fire its miniguns at you, causing a very, very sad stun. And you'll see that this boss loves to stun abuse. And it can also summon Pengus, which have 6,000 health when they first spawn, and shoot out lasers from their mouths. These also tend to be quite annoying, and you can lose very frequently to these. And the probably most important aspect of this new Ducky Doom 2.0, it can literally smash into your passive income, aka your bread, which causes your HP to drop by 100. And this kinda sucks, but no fear, because the thing about HP in the new game mode is that it constantly increases with every single wave. So at the start you might have 200 HP, and then by wave 15 you might have 1000. It just keeps increasing. And this is what makes this aspect of the Ducky Doom 2.0 really not that overwhelming, because if you really think about it, if you have full health, it's going to take 15 hits in order to bring you down to a relatively close health. So, not that overwhelming, but Ducky Doom does have 250,000 health, which is going to make him very hard to beat. Now, along with that, we have Pengus, which I explained earlier. They are kind of like your mid-bosses of the event, and like I said, they are very annoying for some reason. The first Pengu spawns on wave 10, and yeah, you're gonna need a couple of stuff to kill that guy. And so, make sure you have something like a ranger or an accelerator to kill that first Pengu. Next, we have the spy duckies, the flying duckies, and the explosive duckies, which just rely on their own unique characteristics. For example, the spy ducky is hidden, the flying ducky is flying, and the explosive ducky explodes when you kill it. There are many more enemies that have these interesting aspects, and if you want to look up more about these enemies, you can do so, because I'm not going to explain any more. Now, the best strategy for this event. I have already beaten this event, and I already know what is good and what is bad. For this event, you're going to need a lot of area of effect enemies, not enemies, towers. Sorry about that. And you're going to need lots of high DPS towers in order to take down the Ducky Doom 2.0. Area of effect towers are going to be very useful for this event due to the fact that, well, there's a lot more enemies and crowd control is going to be super necessary. And if you don't have crowd control, you're probably just going to die on a super early wave. Now, the best strategy is you have 4 people maximum. And here's my little setup. One person should constantly buy plots in order to increase the passive income. And if you do this, then it'll help out tons. 2 people should focus on getting crowd control towers, such as the Executioner, Militant, and many more. This will help defend against the early waves and will help out overall. One person, the last person, should save up for a high DPS tower right at about wave 10 in order to beat the Pengu. But at around the earlier waves, wave 2 to wave 5, they should help buying the plots in order to increase that passive income. Because what you're really going to figure out in this event is that passive income is a necessity, and you really need it. Because if you have a super low passive income and you're on wave 11, then there's no way you're going to be able to. That's really all for the strategy. You can use any type of high DPS tower you want, any type of area of effect, just so long as it gets the job done. Now, that's all I really have, except for one important thing. This event is pretty interesting, but not just because of the enemies, not because of the boss, not because of the engineer, but because it doesn't just have a party mode. It has quick play, which allows you to match in with other players that also pressed quick play, and you can just quickly get into a server and grind. Now, what makes this quick play function really useful is that you can grind the eggs in the season pass way easier. You can just hop into a match and get to around a decent wave where you get eggs. Now, eggs work just like any other event currency. You get to a point in the event map or event itself, and you get a certain number of eggs for the wave that you reached. For example, you get less eggs if you die on wave 10 than if you die on wave 16, for example. And there are 7 season skins for this event, but there are more coming up. You have the Ducky Sniper, Ducky Soldier, Ducky Hunter, Ducky Militant, Ducky Shotgunner, Ducky Minigunner, and last but not least, Ducky Commander. I think, in my opinion, these skins are not that bad, but also not that good, since they don't really have anything unique in them. They all look exactly the same. But in my opinion, the Ducky Militant is probably the coolest version. that's all I really have for this video. If you guys would like to hear me say anything more, just talk about something else that's in the game, such as how the game modes work, any enemies, feel free to leave a comment down below, and I'll be sure to read them. And without further ado, I'll see you in the next video.